What's up, everyone? Welcome to the episode of Boleros. I'm here with Gab and Maui. Hello, guys. What's up?
Hello, we're back.
Hello! Finally, Juniors coverage!
Yun! Nabanggit na ni Gab. Tama ka dyan, Gab. So, we're going to talk about the UAAP. We're going to talk about basketball today, but instead of UAAP Seniors basketball, we're going to cover the Juniors basketball game. So, nag-Final Four sila yesterday, both of the top two teams dismantling their opponent. So, setting up a finals game between Adamson and NU this weekend, this Sunday. So, uh, for the long-time listeners, we've talked about this before na we've always wanted to get to watch more of the juniors games kasi lahat kami nanonood ng juniors games noon, especially when we were high school, long time ago. So we're also fans of the UAAP juniors games. Fortunately for us, it's been covered by Pilipinas Live, so that's one of the good things about Pilipinas Live. Then they also included the coverage for UAP Juniors. Unfortunately for us, we couldn't do this more regularly, especially during the first round and second round, because just like the seniors, or even worse than the seniors coverage, yung juniors games, 4 games a day. Starting at, anong oras nagsistart, Gab? 8 ba? Tama ba? 8 o'clock.
8 in the freaking morning.
8 in the morning.
So
8
parang
in the morning
UAAP
hanggang
Seniors Wednesday. Yung game
Oo,
days ng
pero
juniors.
every ganun. So, medyo mahirap manood, guys. But we made sure ngayong Final Four and Finals, we will do UAAP Juniors coverage. So, um, before we start, we don't want to claim na experts kami sa UAAP Juniors, na marami kaming alam. Sa totoo lang, wala din kami masyadong alam. But we will try to cover it. So, please bear with us. And if we're missing any important information or may mali kaming info na masabi, please correct us and share with us yung mga insider info nyo. We really appreciate it. Maui, I think you mentioned marami ka rin nakukuhang insider info on UAAP Juniors sa some of our commenters, di ba? Okay. So, before we start, I want to say, before we talk about the games, no, ang na-appreciate ko about UAAP Juniors Final Four, when I was watching it, is how, parang it's very refreshing to me. Kasi, ibang-iba siya from the seniors division. Other than NU making the Final Four, fresh teams, di ba? FEU was there, Adamson was there, UST was there, and the usual top teams in the seniors, UP, Ateneo, Lasal, they're in the bottom 3
Mga
of the
kulela.
UAP games, di ba? So, ibang-iba. Ibang-iba. So, nakakatuwa because you get to see the other teams and hopefully, we expect na some of the stars from these teams will translate or will transfer to the senior team of their school, of their respective schools. No? Although that doesn't always happen. We know that. But yun, I just wanted to start with that. I think masaya mapanood yung mga other teams. So let's get started with the first game from yesterday. UST versus Adamson. Top team versus the bottom team. Adamson only had one loss during the season. I think it was in the first round. And it was against this UST team. So, Gab, your thoughts on that game yesterday?
That game showed was that Adamson was definitely the more experienced, more mature team compared to UST. I think all three of us kind of agreed with it when you were watching it. Ang gulo ng UST maglaro. And to be fair, guys, to those who are watching, juniors basketball is not the most polished type of basketball. It's not the type of basketball na sobrang organized, right? I think Sam, Maui, you would agree. Pang juniors basketball, maraming takbuhan, maraming turnovers, maraming rush shots. Again, these are teenagers. They do love to run and love to get up shots there, and that was very evident sa UST. I thought, these the whole UST team, especially their star, si Dungo, were just forcing up a lot of shots. They were not moving the ball that much. They were driving to the lane without any plan whatsoever. So they were just driving and getting caught by the Adamson defense. Sa Adamson, you saw the experience. And for those who don't know, this Adamson team was actually in the finals last year against FEU. Majority of their rotation players all played in the finals last season. Particularly their star player, their star point guard, si Justin Garcia. He was in the finals last year. I think he was the backup to their starter last season. But si Bonzalida was there last season. Vince Reyes, who shot 8 for 8 from the field, was also there last season. So this was a very experienced Adamson team, and you saw it by the way they played. They were very patient. Yung inikot nila yung bola, they were not forcing up shots. They were willing to make that extra pass every single play. Kahit na they had a layup against one defender, they were willing to dish it off for a much better shot. Everything just, and you see why they're 13-1. No, you see why they're the best team in the UAAP Juniors division. I wasn't able to watch their first round loss to UST. Yung feeling ko nagulat lang sila ng UST or something, or UST got hot or something like that. But this Adamson team definitely looks like they're primed to win the championship. I think NU, they're both of their losses in the elimination round came against this Adamson team, despite not having a super large player in Colin Sokowe for NU, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about him later. And ang ganda yung panoorin ng team basketball ng Adamson. They're clearly more polished. Very apparent sa akin yung maturity nila when UST made their run in the third quarter. I think you guys saw this. Si Ludovice of UST hit, I think, 3 straight 3-pointers. Yeah, uminit yung UST ng third quarter. They cut the lead down to 62-56. And the Adamson head coach, I think his name is Mike Fermin, did not call a timeout. And they still were so composed and got the lead back up to 13. That's how mature and organized this Adamson team is. They weren't bothered by that huge run that UST made in the third quarter, and just maintained their composure and just rode until the fourth quarter to this win. And I think if there's a team that's closer to seniors basketball and how they play, it's this Adamson team. Very mature young players here. Maui, Sam.
By the way, si Coach Mike Fermin is an assistant then for the seniors team, no? So may continuity din doon.
Yep. Yeah, I think naging coach siya before, if I'm not mistaken, probably before Coach Nash, diba? I think, Gab, you said it pretty well. It was complete dominance for me. Maybe Ludovice getting hot nung third quarter and scoring 19 points kept the game close, but really, if you watch the game, it was really complete and utter dominance. I don't think UST even led for a second nung game, and it's really hard to believe. Tama ka, Gab, it's hard to believe that this Adamson team lost to UST during the first round, and it's not surprising that this team is 13-1 despite not having that dominant big man, as you mentioned. I think si Vince Reyes, as you mentioned, he had an 8-for-8 game with 23 points and 11 rebounds. But it's not just even si Vince Reyes. It's really a dominance ng Adamson throughout the game. They actually forced UST to a ton of turnovers, and I think yung points of turnovers, if you look at yung stat sheet, it really reflects how the game went. Adamson, I think, had 26 points of turnovers, and UST had close to nothing, parang mga 5 and below lang. I think that really speaks of how dominant Adamson was during the game. It's just outmatched. UST was just outmatched. The Adamson clearly had more quality players than UST. I thought that si Doy Dungo, I really like this guy. He was forcing a lot of shots. He was forcing a lot of drives, but I think it's really a byproduct also of UST not having that personnel. I think Adamson really matched up pretty well with him. But I'm very excited for this guy. This guy is probably
Ang
seen as
haba
the
niya, Maui. Grabe yung mga kamay niya.
yeah
Yung arm length niya,
yeah.
wingspan.
Actually, di
Wow.
ba, I was mentioning off air, he reminded me of a young Kevin Ferrer, but probably he has to work on his outside shot if he's going to take it to the next level when he reaches the seniors division. But this UST team,
Perfect for Coach Pido Harencio
yeah,
and
perfect
UST.
for Coach Pido. I think
Coach Pido was there.
Coach, yeah. I think the coaches were Coach Nash was also there, if I'm not mistaken. And the second game, si Coach Denok was on the bench. I think this is something to watch out for. To my next point, actually, I just read an article that 6 players from San Beda, including Dungo, transferred to UST. I was mentioning this to Sam kanina off air, and it's because yung coach ng UST is the former coach of the Red Cubs, si Manu Inigo. I think this is something to look out for. UP has been very vocal also on controlling or fixing yung grassroots program nila, which is yung juniors division. This is something to, I think yung blueprint is because of how Ateneo developed their junior players during the peak of the Blue Eaglets, and how it led to Ateneo having that dynasty with Terdy Ravena, the Nieto brothers, and Gian Mamuya. Basically, a ton of players coming from the juniors division. I think this is probably the step that the teams are going. Uh, a lot of teams are starting to put extra attention on their juniors program. I think Ateneo also, not just Ateneo de Manila, di ba? They also mentioned that with Jared Bay almost going to UP, I think Ateneo also mentioned that they will look at yung programs ng Ateneo schools outside of Metro Manila, which is Ateneo de Cebu, who has produced who is going to have 3 players under their banner playing the Blue Eagles potentially in season 87. And another prospect that Naveen mentioned during one of his posts na also a potential prospect. So yeah, just to finalize, basically just a beatdown, I would say, by Adamson. I think it's very reminiscent of how yung seniors division, very dominant ang two teams. Here we'll talk about later yung NU, but the game, I'm really surprised, much like you, Gab, how this USD team was able to beat yung Adamson. They just had everything to answer USD during this game. Sam?
I think maganda yung point mo, Maui, about like yung continuity or yung connection between the seniors and the juniors division. I know you mentioned, you or Gab mentioned it before na, and if you watch the games yesterday, may kita mo, Jeff Napa was with NU, di ba? Parang nag-a-assist na, I don't know, assistant pa siya, nagma-manager siya, but he was there with the NU coaching staff. Si on the FEU side, Coach Denok Miranda was also there. So you see most of the teams, if not all, have connections to the seniors coaching staff then, or the seniors team. So very important talaga to be able to connect that then. Comments lang on the Adamson game, I think more or less you guys covered it. Siguro for me, the only thing that I noticed like from the UST side was si Buena Flor, yung parang big man nila na center at or starting
Yeah,
center
si
nila.
Buena
I
Flor.
think parang he only scored like 8 points or something like that. But in like other games, normally dominant siya, nakita siya. Nagta-top score din yan for the team. So maybe siya, dun lang medyo kulang for UST yesterday. Buti na lang uminit si Ludovice. I also remember lang the guards of UST kasi I watched the UST Ateneo game tapos The guards were killing us. Si Ronquillo was hitting 3-pointers, yung super liit nilang guard.
Yeah, they're
Pesky
very small
Junior
guard.
also. Yeah, but he was hitting like 3-pointers against Ateneo nung nanonood ako. And si JB Lim didn't do much yesterday, pero I think I was telling Gab, gusto ko yung Lim, magaling yung Lim. Si JB Lim.
Yung basta
I
lim,
really,
pare. Yung basta lim. Okay yan.
basta Lim. Gab Lim talaga. I remember JB
Shooter!
Lim. I remember JB Lim kasi against Ateneo, he had 7 steals. He had 7 steals against Ateneo and one of the top scorers then for UST. So medyo disappointing not to see him do as well yesterday, pero it not so much siguro it's not much about him but more about how better the guards of Adamson are. Like si Justin Garcia, Gab was hyping us about him, and very steady point guard. Very steady and solid point guard. Vince Reyes, you guys talked about it. 8 of 8 from the field, 3 of 3 from 3-point shot. Para siyang ano no, yung parang Jokic yung tres niya, yung parang mabagal na set shot. Tapos
Yeah, that set
lagi niya
shot.
nakifakean yung yung mga bantay niya eh. Parang mabagal na set shot. Tapos tatalo na yung bantay niya, tapos the drive na siya, penetrate na siya, and then pasa na siya. Ang galing ni Vince Reyes. I'm hoping he goes to Adamson. Would be nice to see him play for Adamson in the seniors division. Kasi alam ko grade 12 na to eh. So next year he should be playing for the seniors team na. But yeah, I think well deserved na Adamson and NU yung magfa-finals sa this Sunday. So
It's
let's
the first
talk
time
about
in UAAP
Go, Maui.
Juniors history that
Na ano?
Adamson and
In
NU
NU.
are in the finals. I mean, facing each other. Thank you to Pong Ducanes again for all of our UAAP facts.
Fun facts from Pong
Yeah,
Ducanes.
si Sir Pong talaga ibang klase. Ibang klase.
Ibang level. Idol. Let's go on to the next game. NU versus FEU. Gab or Maui, anything you wanna say or talk about sa NU versus FEU? This was the second game. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think this game was better in terms of quality. These two
Mas
teams are
competitive.
mas competitive yung game. But I think one of the things that I noticed even before I talk about the game is yung second generation players. Si Willie Miller, as you guys mentioned.
I was gonna say
pangalan
that.
no?
I was gonna say
Mga
mga pangalan. Parang napanood ko yan nung bata ako. Yung mga pangalan na yan.
I think it's an indication of how long we've been watching the UAAP and how long we've been following yung Philippine basketball. When we see players like Dwayne Miranda, who's the son of Denok Miranda, the coach of FEU. People know Denok as the coach of FEU. We know Denok as one of the top point guards of FEU, probably in history. That's something that I really realized when we watch juniors games and when we look at yung stat sheet. I always look at is this guy a son of a former player, and it's a delight to watch, especially with Coach Denok on the bench, di ba? Coach Denok on the bench and his son playing as one of the top guards of FEU. I think that's a welcome sight to look at. With regards to the game, I think it's si Colin Akowe is something to really talk about. He's a prime candidate for poaching, as Sammy mentioned. He's also a prime candidate for naturalization. I think that's the Philippines is looking at him similar to how they looked at Ange Kwame during the previous years. As usual, he had a very big game. He had 24 points and 14 rebounds, at par with his season average of 17 points and 21 rebounds. It's
What the hell?
very seniors ready.
How big is Akowe, Maui? Akowe
is, I think he was measured at 6'10", 6'9", 6'10". So maybe we have an argument that Akowe is probably better than the other prospects of NU. So we'll see if he gets to suit up come season 87. I think yung FEU is also a very good program in the juniors division as usual. This is a program that has produced a ton of great guards. But I think yung what's very promising right now is they also have been producing good wing players. And si Gab, one of his favorites is si VJ Pre. Had a very good game. Gab has been talking about VJ Pre since season 86 when they made that championship run. It was actually I was actually looking for Mokopa and asking Gab what happened to Mokopa in a party he got into an accident. I think a motorcycle accident, and unfortunately wasn't able to suit up. But despite that, FEU was still very competitive throughout season 87 for the juniors division. And I think it's really a huge shout out has to be given to VJ Pre. This guy is probably seniors ready. We see why he is being compared to another FEU great, Mac Bello. He has really developed yung game niya. He can now create off the dribble. He was not a very good 3-point shooter during the regular season, but he had 2 3-pointers during this game. This is a welcome sight when you see programs like FEU continue to be good in the juniors division. I think it's a byproduct. Having a good juniors division team is really usually leads to a very good seniors team also. If you look at history, teams like UST previously had very good programs. Teams like FEU have had very good programs. So I'm hoping that this translates to better programs in the seniors division. But hopefully we see players like VJ Pre excel. Gab, anything to add?
Ako, just a few points. One, you mentioned yung tuwa natin na makita yung mga legacy players, diba? Like si Dwayne Miranda, yung anak ni Willie Miller who plays just like him. And then, Salangsang, if you guys do remember, there was a shooter back in the PBL days, si Ian Salangsang. His son was there. Jedrick Daa, his father played for I think San Sebastian or Letran back in the 2000s, in the mid 2000s. I think played, if I remember correctly, played for Wellcoat in the PBA, matched up against Enrico Villanueva at times. So only the oldies will know these names, will know these players. But yeah, ako natutuwa ako. Parang, may Daa. Ano kaya yung kanyang relationship kay sa Daa nung sa NCAA? And kudos to the commentators and the analysts who were calling the game. I forgot their names, but they did confirm, no? Ito yung anak to ni Daa. Ito yung anak ni Willie Miller. Wow, okay. So really big delight for the three of us who were watching that game and just pinpointing the names and then the legacy players. So
feel ko kasi Gab, pag nagta-try out sa FEU, parang Miller, kaano mo si Willie Miller? Tatay ko po, pasok ka na. Miranda, kaano mo si Miranda? Pasok ka na. Basta may pangalan nata, pasok na eh. But hindi, to be fair, magagaling sila.
Magagaling sila. They're really good. And really perhaps good. We'll get to them. Perhaps we'll get to them later, in players to watch out for. But yeah, just to set kind of the background of this game, NU has been dominating the juniors division for how many seasons already? Prior to season 86, prior to season 85, NU was the champions for how many seasons? They've been dominating.
In the finals. Kung hindi man sila
they were always in the finals.
Finals.
And they've been dominating the juniors division of the UAAP for years. And last season, FEU eliminated this NU team from contention. So it was FEU and Adamson in the finals for season 85. And FEU ended up eliminating a Reinhard Humamoy-led NU team from contention. So there's a bit of I wouldn't say bad blood, but there's a rivalry bit. Oh, exactly. NU wants to get back at FEU. So that's the setup of this game. And the players may be different, but I'm sure a lot of the fans and the coaches remember what happened in season 85. So that was it. But as to the game, um, Collins Akowe just freaking dominated. It's not just, and Maui mentioned it, it's not just that he's the way bigger than the rest of the competition, which he was, but he's also a very polished player. He's not just big. He's not Mo Fati to, to to put it bluntly. He has some skill. He has a shooting touch from mid range and from the free throw line. He can pass out of the post. He made a lot of great passes yung out of the post yesterday. He has this spin move and drop step to the baseline, which he always uses, and he gets easy buckets. He can protect the rim. And if I'm another school in the seniors division, I'll be looking at Colin Sakoe and be like, how can we get this guy? Because he's obviously a lot more talented than even FSAs in the senior division. Diba? I think if you look at Colin Sakoe, he's way better than what we have now. And I think you'll be doing, if you're a seniors program, you'll be doing anything that you can to get this guy into your seniors team. But as for the game, it was close all throughout. I think it was a back and forth affair, but NU was leading for majority of this game. FU was trying to catch up. They came close a couple of times in the fourth quarter, but really they couldn't hit their shots, especially from the outside. And I think that was the killer for them. They could not hit anything from 3-point range. And with Colin Sakoe there in the paint, it's kind of hard to get paint points against this NU team. I do want to say that Dwayne Miranda had a lot of good looks, but he couldn't hit anything. I think he was
Inalat.
Yep, I think he was 1 for 11 throughout the entire game.
2 for 16.
Yun pala. Sorry, yung 2 for 16, doing his best Denok Miranda impression.
Pero he had like 10 assists and 8 boards.
Yeah.
So
exactly
everything
like his father. Exactly like his father. His father, for those who remember, back in his UAAP days, Denok Miranda was not known as a shooter. He was a setup guy, a defensive guard. Diba? An all-around guard. But he was not known as a shooter. And mukhang nagmana si Dwayne Miranda kay Denok Miranda in this game because he could not hit any of his shots. And there were big, wide-open shots that he could have hit in the fourth quarter just to cut the lead down and perhaps give FEU a chance to steal this game. But just couldn't. VJ Pre did as much as possible in the fourth quarter to keep FEU within striking distance. He had a couple of tough layups. He hit a three. He was doing his best to contain si Collins Akowe. But in the end, the firepower of NU was just too much. They had a lot of good players, but definitely si Collins Akowe yung big difference maker nila. Just so dominant. And we're getting the two best teams in the finals in Adamson and NU. And what's interesting is that Adamson does not have a big guy. They don't have a really, really tall guy that can match up with Collins Akowe. Diba? Unlike sa FEU, they do have, I think, si VJ Press around 6'7", 6'6". They do have I forgot his name. They do have a couple of big guys in their lineup that can show some size against Collins Akowe. But Adamson doesn't have anyone. They're pretty small. They have big guys, but they don't have really tall guys. I think si Tumaneng is their center off the bench, and he's not really that big, no, or not really that skillful yet. So, Sammy, your takeaways from this Final Four game?
For me, Collins Akowe I think he took like 14 free throw attempts versus FEU only had a total of 18. They couldn't stop Akowe. All they did was foul him. And pretty decent free throw shooter parang shot more than 50%, I think. Yung isa pang kinoment ko, Gab, di ba? Yung isang mukhang mama din o minamama yung players from NUC. Alfanta also was just driving to
Rafa
the basket,
Alfanta.
ginagayot yung mga
Ay,
tao and
Sorry.
getting fouled.
Mac Alfanta.
I think
Ayun,
siya yung
Mac
second
Mac.
This
leading
guy looks
scorer ng NU during the elimination round.
Yeah, I think so. From Davao or something. Tama.
I
Go,
would
Gab.
expect so. He looks like a man amongst boys. This guy's huge.
Di ba?
Look at
Laki
his
niya eh.
shoulders.
Compared to the other guys eh. Di ba? Laki niya. I also like Go ahead, Gab. May sasabihin ka ba dyan?
No, I'm just saying, yung talk about someone who's seniors ready. Mac
Seniors
Alfanta,
ready.
his body
Alfanta.
is seniors
Yeah.
ready.
Yeah. Another guy that I like, Tagotongan. I was surprised na he scored 12 points yesterday. Very
Hit the
quiet
biggest
12
shot.
points, I would say. I think he hit a 3 nung fourth quarter, tama ba yun? Or
Yeah.
parang
He
may
hit the
mid-range, parang semi-hook din siya na when they were making the run. Pero I did not notice na he had like 12 points, but he was a very steady hand then for NU. So, galing. I think Akowe was the dominant one, but I think Alfanta and Tagutongan carried the team also. Yun lang yung comment ko doon. For I think na-mention yun na yung names, yung familiar names for FEU. Just to go back to what I mentioned kanina na it's interesting to see different teams performing well sa juniors. Why? Because we talked about yung parity sa seniors division. And hopefully, what I was saying, diba, hopefully these players will continue their journey with the same teams in the seniors division and those teams will be more competitive, diba? Isipin mo na lang itong FEU getting somebody like VJ Pre. They could use someone like that in their team right now.
He's a future
Miranda
star.
also
I
coming
can
in.
feel it.
Si
These
Pasaol,
guys in for
wala ka this year, di ba?
Oo nga, tama ka, Maui. I completely forgot. Si Pasaol pa. Wala pa. Hindi nga pa siya naglaro sa juniors. But imagine these guys coming in for FEU. Much needed talent and players for FEU to compete again and come back to the Final Four in the seniors division. And for me kasi FEU is very parang family run, family oriented na they really like parang may continuity talaga, like how they replaced Rosella with Miranda. So yun, I think that's something that we should look forward to for a team like FEU so that they can be competitive ulit.
Yeah.
Other than that, parang I guess my question is wala naman na on my end. My next question for you guys is NU versus Adamson. Adamson beat NU twice during round 1 and round 2. See, who's your pick? Who's your pick to win the finals or at least win game 1? Sige, game 1.
Ako honestly, I
Yeah.
would go for,
Maui.
for
Sige, Maui.
Adamson. But really, it's really about them limiting si Colin Akowe. Diba kasi at the end of the day, this is a team that really depends a lot on Akowe. But Adamson really has a lot of firepower. Tsaka yung the way they play is very, as Gab mentioned, very composed, it doesn't look like a high school team. I think FEU was also a good test for NU, but I would still pick Adamson because they're like a more polished FEU team over NU. I think FEU really did a good job having just 9 turnovers because we always talk about a ton of turnovers when we're talking about juniors basketball just because of yung pace ng game. But I would go Adamson definitely sa finals. You can't go. I would go for the favorite. They're 2-0 in the regular season for a reason. Adamson is 13-1 for a reason. I think UST, as Gab mentioned, maybe just caught Adamson on the wrong side of the bed during that first round matchup. Gab, what do you think?
I'm with you, Maui. I think it's gonna be Adamson Baby Falcons winning this one. Although I am excited to watch this. It's gonna be on Sunday. It's just gonna be near. I'm thinking of watching live. I think it's gonna be a very competitive game. I was able to watch the first round encounter between Adamson and NU. I think Collins Akoy had a 23 and 24 double-double. But still, Adamson pulled out the win by forcing turnovers and running, just like what they did to
UST.
UST yesterday, and by shooting well from the outside. That's their strength. They have a ton of great guards. They have a ton of shooters, and I think they could neutralize or
I agree.
the other players outside of Colin Sakowe. I mean, they don't have anyone big enough to contend with Colin Sakowe, so I think they will stand pat by letting Colin Sakowe get his and neutralize the other guys. Sort of like the game plan when teams go up against Nikola Jokic in Denver. You can let Nikola Jokic get his, but you have to limit the other guys. I think that will be the game plan for Adamson against NU in this final series. But it's gonna be interesting. I'm excited. First time, it's my first time to fully watch yung Final Four and Finals ng Juniors Division yung in a long time. So I'm excited. Sammy?
I have to pick Adamson because they're the number one team. Pero I always like an underdog story. So I'm cheering for NU then. To make it at least competitive, let's have a game 3. Game 3 finals game, di ba? Tapos, but I agree with you, Gab. I think one of the keys then would be the 3-point shooting of Adamson. I sort of, pinanood ko ng briefly, went over yung game nila, Adamson versus NU nung second round. I think si Medina yung nag-top scorer, yung one of their 3-point shooters sa Adamson. So I think keys to the game would be the 3-point shooting of Adamson also. Medina, Reyes hitting his 3-point shot, si who was the other guy yung kulot? Esperanza. Esperanza also hitting his threes. Gab, I'm surprised hindi mo na-mention yung favorite Adamson player mo, si Bonzalida. Maybe, kailangan lang niya ng Sakuragi powers para ma-out-rebound niya si
He's awesome. He's my favorite. He's my favorite since last season when I got to watch him. Yeah, but I thought we were gonna mention him when some players to watch out for. And he's one of my players to watch out for, si Bonzalida of Adamson. Not a lot of plays get run for him.
Mhm.
I think he's around 6'4", 6'5", that kind of height. He gets after the
motor,
offensive boards. Yeah, that motor in that game against USC yesterday, I think he had 11 rebounds. 7 of them were on the offensive glass. Just keeping possessions alive, doing the dirty work. And it's not like he doesn't have skill. He does. It's just that his other teammates are better shooters or are better post players, but he reminds me of an early Simon Camacho, just to put another Adamson comparison. Remember Simon Camacho of Adamson in the
do
mid
it all.
2000s?
Do it all
forward.
Yeah, yung of the mid 2010s. He was a guy early in his career. His job was, to set screens, get rebounds,
Guard Kiefer
play
Ravena.
defense. Yep, and as soon as he was thrust into a larger role, you saw naman, may offensive game pala tong si Simon Camacho. So I think Bonzalida is a guy that if you're watching juniors basketball or if you're watching, why he's just a defensive guy, a rebounding guy. But as soon as you give him some plays, I think he could surprise you. Sammy or Maui?
Yeah.
Any other players to watch out for?
Ako definitely si Justin Garcia. This guy was a featured player also from the previous season, and he's probably one of the top guards sa UAAP Juniors. I think yung play ng Adamson really depends a lot on him setting the tone, really taking care of the ball. I think he was one of the top playmakers during the regular season, and I think warranted yung hype ni Gab sa atin kay Justin Garcia. It will be very important for them to really execute, especially going up against Colin Akowe. Diba? It will also be very important for them to run. Similar to how they ran FUST off the floor during this game, forcing a lot of turnovers and converting a lot from them. I think that was really crucial for them to end yung rally ng UST during the second half. And it will be very crucial, forcing those same turnovers, scoring easy baskets, especially going up against arguably probably one of the top big men in UAAP Juniors history, si Collins Akowe. But I'm still picking Adamson. I think that having that marquee guard is very important. I think that's what FEU lack. Maybe si Dre Miller and si Miranda would need more experience to be able to handle a team like NU. But I think Justin Garcia has that. Definitely an exciting matchup, exciting game coming this week, and with Adamson potentially getting. I don't even remember the last time that Adamson won a juniors title. This is probably one of the first times, or maybe decades ago na, similar to how NU won that seniors title from previous seasons. All I remember about Adamson is that season where they had to forfeit 11 games, di ba, before. I think with
Because of Enzo Serrano.
Yun yung talagang ano
Enzo
sila eh, di ba?
Serrano.
Yung, that was the time that they were very competitive. But this is their chance to get that title. I think yung juniors division, people are starting to look at yung women's and juniors division, and I think it's no coincidence that all of the coaches have decided to be involved with the juniors program. All four coaches ng seniors divisions were on the court nung games during yesterday. Just something to look out for. I think anything to add, Sam?
For me, I don't wanna as much as ayokong pumili ng Adamson. I don't wanna pick another Adamson player. I just have to. For me, player to look out for, Vince Reyes. Top scored for the team yesterday. Another big quality big man that could turn into a quality wing in the seniors division. I mentioned this way back. Adamson has produced quality high school big men that turned into wings, na MVP players. They had Mark Ruena, was an MVP for the juniors division, who played for the UP Fighting Maroons. Jake Figueroa, MVP from Adamson, unfortunately moved to NU also. So Vince Reyes for me. Akowe is probably going to be the MVP for this junior season. So Vince Reyes won't get that MVP title, but I think he's sort of in that mold of like a Jake Figueroa, Mark Ruena. Question is, Mark Ruena, Jake Figueroa ended up not going to Adamson when they went to the seniors division. Si Vince Reyes ba? Pupuntang Adamson sa seniors? We will find
Sana.
out.
Kung may Adamson fans
But I really hope
dito,
na he will, no? Bagay siya
Yeah.
doon eh. Bagay siya. With, Baby Boy Manzano. Go, Gab. You were
And
saying something.
just to bounce off si Maui's point about Justin Garcia. Last season, he was a shooting guard. It's not that this guy is a natural point guard. He was a shooting guard last season. They had another point guard. His name escapes me. They had another star point guard last season when they made that finals run. He was the shooting guard beside him or playing backup to their starting point guard. So this guy yung is a bucket, was a bucket. But right now on this team, his job is to set up his other teammates who are equally as skilled. No, he has a ton of shooters on the wings. He has big men who can shoot, who can score inside. So, if I'm an Adamson fan, if we have any Adamson fans here who listen to the podcast, I would be excited for this guy, Justin Garcia. He's really good. He's really good. He's really good. And of course, we have to mention someone from FEU, si VJ Pre. I think this guy is a future star. I mentioned it to you guys yung last season. Yung before we came onto the podcast. Last season, he did not show what he was showing now. I mean, he was a big guy, setting screens, getting dump passes, hook shots, or post ups. Because mainly he was playing with a lot of other talented young guys, no, in Jan Ray Pasaol, si Kirby Moncopa, But now he's the main guy. And ako nagulat ako. Legit nagulat ako sa skills na pinapakita ni VJ
And
Pre.
the
He was
footwork,
taking the footwork in the paint, the
3-point
off the
shooting.
dribble drives, the 3-point shooting, the mid-range shots, the lateral quickness to keep up on the perimeter with smaller players. Ako sobrang nagulat ako. And if I'm FEU, I will be doing everything in my power to keep the score. Yung this score, sinadaa, si Jedrick Miranda, who's in grade 11, so one more year and then he's gonna go to the seniors. Si VJ Pre, si Pasaol, si Moncopa, I would do everything in my power to keep this core together because I think if this core grows together and plays in the seniors division, championships are coming to FEU, baby. They're so talented. Ako, sabi mo yung he's 6'7" with guard skills. Talk about calling
Pre, hindi ba
KQ.
parang 6'5" lang yun?
Or 6'5", 6 whatever height. Si KQ is said to be 6'8", but he looks a lot smaller. but
But he
But,
did.
I
He
think
did.
I think Gab, what
Go now.
solidifies your point is si Anton Montinola was watching the game. He was really
Yeah.
supporting the juniors division. Diba? I think that's a common theme we see right now with all the poaching of players from different schools. Everyone is prioritizing their grassroots program. I think that's even more so than the coaches, diba? Si Anton Montinola watched the juniors game despite them being an underdog, diba? Against
that's true.
Yep.
NU.
Okay. That's it. That's it for today's coverage, for today's discussion. What do you guys think? Sino yung mga players to watch out for sa juniors division? Doesn't have to be players from the Final Four team. And it could be players outside the Final Four team na we didn't get to discuss today. What are your predictions for the finals? Adamson versus NU. Who's going to win game 1? Who's going to win the finals and become champions for this season? Comment down below. Share your thoughts. Share your stories about the juniors teams. What you're looking forward to para sa seniors team nyo. Don't forget, subscribe. We'll see you again after the finals. Bye-bye.